Students, how are you all? I hope you are fine. So today I'm going to take our English 1 class, and today I'm going to start a new chapter. Okay, so the name of the chapter is The Beggar and the 5 Dosais. Chapter number 6. You can turn to page number 46, 46. Here you will get the beggar and the 5 Dosais. Okay. So, dosa or dosai is a type of pancake. It's usually eaten with sambar and coconut chutney. Okay, have you ever eaten dosa? South Indian cuisine is generally rice based. Okay, it's a South Indian dish. Dosa is a South Indian dish which is served or which is eaten with coconut chutney and sambar. Okay, name any 3 South Indian dishes that you have heard of. Here in this spaces which is provided for you, which is given, in the spaces you have to write the name of 3 more South Indian dishes of which you have heard. Suppose idli, then dosa to it's given earlier, idli, then vada, this dahi vada and all. The name of 3 South Indian dishes you have to write here. Okay, I just gave an example. It's not that this is the answer. So next, let us begin the story. In a village in Tamil Nadu, there once lived a poor beggar named Shankar. He lived in a small hut with his wife Padma. Shankar went out every morning carrying a clean vessel. He returned home with only enough rice for the day's meal, and thus they lived on in extreme poverty. So, in a village in Tamil Nadu, there once lived a poor beggar whose name was Shankar. He lived in a small town with his wife Padma. His wife's name was Padma. And every morning, what did Shankar do? As he was a beggar, he used to go out every morning with a clean vessel and beg around. Okay, after begging, you know what is a beggar? Bhikari. Okay, so every day he used to go out with a clean vessel, and there after begging the whole day, he used to bring that much rice, which means with which they would be able to have that particular day's meal. Okay, means they would eat only for the particular day. Next day again he used to go out and beg around. Okay, and as they lived, and that is why they lived on in extreme poverty, means they were very poor, because Shankar used to beg, and what the amount of rice he used to bring after begging was only sufficient, means and was enough only for the day's meal. Okay, one day a neighbor invited the couple to a feast, and among the people of this village, dosais were always a part of the good things served on festive occasions. One day what happened, their neighbor invited them. Our neighbors invite us, no, sometimes even our relatives also invite us. So in the same way, the neighbors invited them, and in that village, dosais were the good things which means people served on every festive occasion, or if means whenever any festival occurs or any occasion is there, then people used to serve dosais of this means of that village. People used to serve what? Dosas or dosais. Shankar and Padma had their fill of dosais at the feast. Means they ate full stomach. They ate dosas, means which filled their whole stomach, They were so pleased with them that Padma wished to prepare some dosas in her own home. Means after eating the dosa, they were so happy that Padma thought that yes, I will also make some dosas in my own home, and began to save a little rice every day from what her husband bought her. Then what she began to save a little rice every day. When her husband brings home rice, from that portion, a little she used to save every day, and little by little it used to increase day by day the quantity of rice. When enough rice had been collected, she asked her neighbor to give her a little black dal, which she readily did. When enough dal was collected, Padma, what she used to do, she used to keep a little bit of rice every day, from the amount which her husband bought, from the quantity which her husband bought, from that little rice she used to keep, and every day keeping a little rice, when the whole amount was collected, she thought that yes, now I can make dosas. So she asked her neighbor to give her a little black dal. Okay, dosa is prepared with this rice, black dal. Okay, then both Shankar and Padma glowed with, and which she readily did, her neighbor also gave her, readily did the thing, Padma asked for dal and she gave her. Both Shankar and Padma glowed with joy that day, for they were looking forward to eating the fluffy, wholesome dosas for a second time. So both Padma and Shankar, they were glowing with happiness that they are going to eat dosas for the second time. First time they had eaten in their this neighbor's house, and this was going to be the second time for them to eat dosa. Okay, Padma first ground the rice and black dal into a paste. First we have to make a paste of the ingredients. Okay, this is how dosas are made, and with that batter you have to make dosa. So first, what did Padma do? She mixed the dal and rice and made a paste of these things. Okay, she mixed it well with salt, green chilies, coriander seeds and curd to form a batter. Along with this, she mixed coriander seeds, then chilies, then this salt and curd. Curd means dahi. Okay, coriander means what dhania. So she converted it into a batter. Then she poured a little into a pan on the fire. Then on the fire she put a pan, and on that pan she put a little batter and started making the dosas. Her mouth watered the whole time while she was making the dosas. So while she was making the dosas, her mouth watered while making. Okay, by the time her husband returned, she was just turning the fifth dosas out of the pan. So by that time her husband also returned, and she was now turning the fifth dosa out of the pan. Okay, as she put all 5 dosas in front of him, his mouth began to water. Now Padma, what did she do? She put all the dosas into this in front of Shankar, and his mouth also began to water. Padma, while making, her mouth began watering. Now when she kept in front of Shankar, his mouth began to water. He kept 2 for himself and placed 2 on Padma's plate. But what was to be done with the 5th? Now Shankar, what did he do? There were 5 dosas, so 2 he kept on his plate and 2 he kept for Padma. Now what were they going to do with the 5th one? He could not think of a way out of this difficulty. Shankar could not think and come out of this difficulty. He was not able to think what was he going to do with that 5th one. How could he divide that 5th one? That half and half made one whole, and that each of them could take 2.5 dosas was not something he thought of at all. That half and half made one whole, there was only one dosa, so if he would divide it into equal halves, then they could have half both. So each of them could have 2.5 and 2.5 dosas, but that did not means that he did not think at all that if he tore the dosa into two pieces, then each of them could have equal portion. That he did not think. The beloved dosas could not be torn into pieces. Now he was thinking that cannot turn this dosa into pieces. So Shankar said to Padma that either he or she must take the remaining one, but how were they to decide who should be the lucky one? So Shankar now said to Padma that let us do one thing. Either you take or I will take the remaining one. The one was left, no? So he was telling that either you take or I will take. But how were they going to decide who was the lucky one to get this dosa? So finally Shankar said that let us both stretch ourselves out on either side of the kitchen and close our eyes. Whoever opens their eyes or speaks first will get the 2 dosas, and the other person will get 3. Now Shankar got an idea. He told his wife that one thing let us do, let us stretch like this, okay? Let us stretch to the either side of the kitchen, means to two sides of the kitchen, and close our eyes and keep. Now whoever will speak first or whoever will open the eye first will get only 2 dosa, and the other one, means the winner, will get 3 dosas. Both Shankar and Padma wanted to get 3 dosas so much that they both agreed to these rules. Now they both wanted to get 3 dosas. So he also wanted that he gets 3 dosa, and she also wanted that she get 3 dosas. So they agreed to these rules, and Padma placed the 5 dosas pan on the kitchen counter. Padma placed the 5 dosas, the pan on which 5 dosas were there. She kept it on the kitchen counter. She then carefully closed the door and lay down on one side of the kitchen, with her husband lay down on the other side of the kitchen. They listened with bated breath. Waiting to see which of them could open their eyes or speak first. So what did she do? She kept the pan of the 5 dosas in the kitchen, on the kitchen counter. Then she carefully closed the door, and she lay on one side and her husband on the other side. Okay, they both lay on the either side of the kitchen. They closed their eyes and see. With one eye open, they were seeing who moves or who speaks first. Okay. The first few hours were not easy. Means to keep remaining awake. Sorry. As though you are awake, to pretend like this, to sleep in such a position with your eyes closed and without moving an inch also, it's very difficult. The first hours were not at all easy. Both Shankar and Padma lay quite still. The whole house still smelt of Padma's cooking. The delicious aroma of the dosai batter frying in oil hung in the air. The whole house was smelling, because Padma had made dosas at that time only, no? So the aroma was there in the whole house, a smell was there in the whole house, and the tangy smell of tomato and onion chutneys tickled their nostrils. Tangy smell means that chutney she had made, no, with tomato and onion. That the smell of that tomato chutney also tickled their nostrils, means they were able to smell that smell. Still, see, they were so, they had no idea of dividing it into equal halves so that each could take equal portion of the dosa. Something was biting Shankar's foot. He felt a sharp pain in his big toe. Shankar thought that one of the red ants that occasionally found their way into the house had attacked his toe. Understood? So something was biting Shankar's foot, and he thought that the red ants are there, no? It was so much paining in his big toe that he thought that one red ant might be biting him. It itched terribly, but Shankar did not dare move, for he knew that Padma was listening intently. Shankar did not move at all. It was paining. He was feeling that something had bitten him, but he did not move at all, because he knew that his wife was there listening intently. If he moved even a fraction of an inch, Padma would pronounce the contest over and declare herself the winner. So he lay perfectly still, trying not to think about his itchy toe. So what did Shankar do? He thought he understood that if he moved, then Padma would say that he is the loser and she is the winner. So he did not move a bit, and he tried not to think about his itchy toe, his toe which was itching. He tried not to think about that and think about something else. He was thinking only about the dosa. Both were thinking about the dosa, so they were able to stay like this. The hours ticked by. The night sky began to grow lighter and lighter, and soon it was dawn. Means hours tick means घंटे के ऊपर घंटा जाता रहा, मतलब रात से अब धीरे धीरे dawn मतलब सवेरा. Okay, so now it was going to be dawn. Padma tried to sneak a peek at Shankar. She opened one eyelid very, very carefully, and as she sneaked a look at him, she realized with a start that he was doing the exact same thing. Means Padma tried to open one eye little and look at Shankar, means what he was doing. As she did this, she realized that Shankar was also doing the same thing. She quickly closed her one eye again, hoping he hadn't noticed. He had, of course, but he remained silent. What did she do? Quickly she closed her eye, and she was thinking that I hope Shankar did not notice. But Shankar noticed, but he remained silent. He didn't speak a single word. They spent an entire second day and then a third in this manner. Means first night they spent, then second day and a third day also in the same manner. The house remained shut throughout that time. The house was also shut because they were not moving from their place, and Padma closed her door while before starting this competition, so the house was closed. Soon the whole village began to worry about Shankar and Padma. What had happened to them? Very soon, the whole village began to worry about them. They were thinking, what happened to these people? One of the village watchmen came and tried to push the door open, but it would not open. One of the village watchmen who guards the village, he came and he tried to push the door, but it would not open. Surely, said the elders, it is locked on the inside. Something terrible must have happened. So the elders said that surely something have happened inside. Something terrible might have happened. Let us see. The village folk means people, did not want to waste time wondering what might have happened, so they sent 2 watchmen to climb the roof and open the latch from the inside. So the village watchmen were not didn't want to waste any more time, and so they sent 2 of their watchmen to open the roof from the top and to open the roof and see what happened. Meanwhile, the whole village, man, woman and children, stood outside the house to see what had taken place inside. They sent watchmen to see, and at the same time this man, women and children stood outside their house to see what had happened inside. The watchman jumped into the house and found Shankar and Padma stretched out on 2 opposite sides of the kitchen, stiff and motionless. The watchman, what did they do? They jumped inside and found that Shankar and Padma, they were stretched on 2 opposite sides. Means on one side Shankar was laying and on the other side Padma was laying, and they were motionless. Means they were not moving at all. Then the watchman thought that they are dead. The noise of the watchman jumping in had startled them, of course, but neither had they moved nor opened their eyes. Shankar and Padma, they understood that someone jumped in. They were listening everything, but they didn't open their eyes. Neither they moved from their place. A little also they did not move. Shankar and Padma were so still that the watchman thought they had both died. Understood? Shankar and Padma, after hearing that the watchman jumped in, that someone came inside, they were not moving at all. They were so still that the watchman thought that they have died. They opened the door solemnly and the whole village rushed in. Now both the watchmen, they opened the door and whole village rushed in. Shankar and Padma were carried to an open area. Everyone gathered around. them in a circle and began talking about how fond they were to the of the two people in front of them. Means everyone thought that they had died, no, because they were not moving at all. So the two watchmen, they opened the door very seriously, and all the people of the village rushed in. Soon both Shankar and Padma were carried out and they were taken to an open space. The whole village gathered, circled around them, and were speaking about them. This is what we do, no? When someone dies, we say that, yes, he was a good person, he was so good, he was so. Or if it is a bad person, means we don't say. But when someone is very good, we say, no, we praise him in front of that dead body only. So they were praising, standing there and praising about them. Shankar was always so polite, said the old lady, shaking her head. One old lady was standing there, and she shook her head and said that Shankar was always so polite. And Padma worked so hard, said Padma's neighbor, the one who had given her the black dal for her dosas. So her neighbor who had given her, no, do you remember in the beginning of the story when she decided to make the dosas, her neighbor gave her black dal. That neighbor also praised Padma, saying that Padma was so hardworking. The sun was hot above the village, and Shankar and Padma began to sweat. So the sun was very hot there above the village, and Shankar and Padma, means as the sun was very hot and they were kept outside in an open area, so they began to sweat, but no one noticed of this. A bit of dust was troubling Padma immensely, and she was sure she was about to sneeze. At the same time, Shankar was being bothered by a fly which circled around and around his head, round and round his head. It buzzed in his ear annoyingly. So Padma, she was about to sneeze because a bit of dust was troubling, means in her nose, and she was about to sneeze. And Shankar was also troubled by a bee who was moving round and round his face, and it was immensely buzzing in his ear. Okay, when bee moves, it makes a sound, no? So it was very irritating for him. Just at the moment when Padma felt that she couldn't hold her sneeze in any longer, the fly perched on Shankar's nose. Just at the moment when Padma, means thought that no, I can't, control my sneeze any longer. I'm about to sneeze now. At that time only the fly entered Shankar's nose and achoo, and he gave Shankar sneezed. Okay. The villagers' hushed conversation was interrupted by a mighty sneeze. It was a mighty sneeze, and what the villagers were conversing, no, everything stopped. I will be satisfied with 2 dosas. Shankar sat up looking disgruntled. So, as he gave a chew, giving this as he sneezed, he said that, okay, I will be satisfied with 2 dosas. So Padma opened her eyes, saying, I have won, I will get 3 dosas. She opened her eyes and she was saying that, yay, I won, I will get 3 dosas now. The villagers who were dumbstruck, means they were shocked, surprised, means no one no one was able to speak also. They were just thinking, what is this happening? The 2 people who were dead now, suddenly they rose up saying, I will get 2 dosas, I will get 3 dosas. Okay, the villagers, they don't know about what happened, so they were totally shocked. They were surprised at what they were seeing. By the sudden revival of the 2 people. Revival means coming into life again. Okay, means an improvement in the condition, because they were dead, no, and an improvement in the condition would be coming into life. So means the villagers were fully shocked at the improvement, means seeing what was going on. Means they questioned Shankar and his wife until they knew the entire story. Means now the villagers seeing this, they questioned Shankar and his wife that what is this going on. The villagers laughed on at what Shankar and Padma had done to get 1 more dosas. Now the villagers laughed after hearing the story. The villagers laughed at them. Before hearing, they started asking questions. No, after hearing the story, the villagers laughed at them. That how Shankar and Padma, what did they do to get one more dosa? When the two of them returned home, they were shocked to find that the dosas had been claimed by a horde of red ants. Shankar almost wept at the sight. Means when they returned home, they thought that one will get two and one will eat three dosas. But when they returned, they saw that the dosas was eaten. Means it was fully eaten by a great number of red ants. And Shankar, after seeing this, he began to cry. "Throw those away," said one of the village elders, "and come to our house to eat some hot fresh dosas." One of the village elder means someone who is, yes, big, means who is bigger in age than you. So one of the village elders said that, "Throw those dosas and come with me to our house and have some hot fresh dosas." Shankar and Padma ate a hearty meal that evening. Each of them ate not two, not three, but four piping hot dosas each. So both Shankar and Dosa, they went to their neighbor's house, to that elder's house. They ate their stomach full of dosa, they filled their stomach, and each of them ate not two or three, each of them ate four dosas each. Okay, so this was your story.